So, virgin shaming. Now, a lot of people have probably seen, or if they look at my videos, you'll see that I have quite a plethora of videos revolving around the topic of slut shaming. The reason why is very simple. It's because, one, there's so many videos here on YouTube that talk about slut shaming. Two, it is ridiculously easy to make videos revolving around slut shaming. The reason why is because it really just shows the depths of how insecure so many young ladies are when it comes to being sluts. And three, because they're freaking hilarious to do. So that's why I have so many. Very easy. I know, low-hanging fruit, some might say, but I think it's important to make those slut-shaming videos. I'll probably make more of them in the future. However, whenever I watch these videos that revolve around slut-shaming, every now and again a feminist will mention this phenomenon. And by mention, I mean they'll gloss over it, and that is virgin shaming. Now, many people will say that virgin shaming is to men, what slut shaming is to women. And virgin shaming is basically the act of making fun or shaming a man for his lack of sexual experience or lack thereof, for not having any sex at all. And you make fun of him, and apparently he's a terrible person, or he's not. I don't really even understand what the implication of virgin shaming is half the time when people do it. Now, I will openly admit that I am a virgin, and I have never had sex before with a woman. Never. Not yet, anyway. I may never have sex with a woman. I don't know. But to be honest, there are much more important things in life than having sex with a woman or a woman having sex with a man. And thus, in all honesty, whenever people try to make fun of me about being a virgin, I didn't really fucking care. It didn't make too much of a difference to me. So as quickly as they would start, they would quickly stop because they understood that it didn't bother me. I didn't really care. Which I think is a very interesting thing because there are lots of young men who do and get their feelings right up hurt whenever they get called out for being virgins, or will do their best to continuously have sex with a bunch of women to affirm their masculinity or their identity. Which I think is a very interesting thing. Now, I think really virgin shaming really kind of shows where we are when it comes to men and women and how we relate to sex and sexuality. For example, I've said this many a times, right, but it ain't shit for tack for a woman to have sex, but it is right difficult for a man to have sex. Which is why I think it's very peculiar that we even have a virgin shaming thing even happening. I mean, think about it for a second. So if a lot of people, especially the media, will show us this image that men are sexual conquerors, or a lot of women and feminists will say that men are sexual conquerors and we're supposed to go out and have sex with a lot of different women. And I'm the only person sitting here thinking, well, if men are supposed to have a bunch of sex with women, then men that have sex with a bunch of women aren't special. And if you're not special, then why in the world should I care about you having a bunch of sex with women? I mean, ain't that just something you're supposed to do? I mean, if you're just supposed to go around having a bunch of sex with different women, then you having sex with a bunch of women doesn't really mean shit for tack when it comes to me. Again, that you're just supposed to do it. It's just inherent, right? So that's why, in my mind, it's very evident to me, or it's supporting evidence that shows that having sex for a man is something special. Because if not, again, who cares if you are a sexually dominant alpha male type character? That's just something you're supposed to do. So, that being said, again, I always thought that it is peculiar that there are even people, and I've had some women do this shit to me too since I started this YouTube thing, that will make fun of you for being a virgin. I mean, how can you simultaneously understand that the acquisition of sex for a man is a difficult task, and yet berate him for not obtaining such a difficult task? That's like making fun of some skinny, scrawny kid for not being able to do 100 sit-ups. You know it's a hard thing to do. You know it takes a special kind of person to have that type of dedication. So why would it be an insult for him not being able to obtain something that was special in the first place? I don't know. It's always been strange to me. And like I said, whenever people try to make fun of me for not having sex, I would just kind of be like, I mean, it's kind of out of my hands half the time. Really, ain't really much I can do about all that. What I mean by that is I'm not saying that I can't, get new clothes, learn game, cut my hair, shave, and all. I could do all of that stuff. I mean, that is well within my power. However, the next step is then convincing a woman to indeed become comfortable enough to have sex with someone she just fucking met. So, I mean, again, having sex with a woman is up to the woman. Really, if I'm the one seeking it out, right? If I'm the one seeking to have sex with her, then it is her fucking decision because I've already given her my consent. Kind of. Well, consent is a whole nother topic that I'll talk about another time of day. However, hopefully you guys understand the point that I'm trying to make there. So again, like I said, I always found it to be odd that you could say that sex is a hard thing to obtain and at the same time shame people for not obtaining something that's difficult to fucking get. But the more interesting thing than that is the fact that so many young men place a lot of their self-esteem in having sex with women or gaining their approval from women. In all actuality, they're no different than the sluts that the female sluts. Since, well, the word slut is really more of a useful word to describe women anyway. But I mean, they're not different, you know, like the pickup artists. The only difference is the amount of effort, and that kind of makes them slightly sadder, in my opinion, that they put so much effort into something that is a gigantic waste of time. Now, a lot of people probably wonder, why do I say having a bunch of sex with people you don't know is a waste of time? Well, partly because you don't get anything out of it other than, okay, maybe 2 hours of pleasure, and that's really extreme. I mean, 30 minutes, 2 hours, I don't know how long sex lasts. Fucking 5 hours of pleasure. I mean, you get that from someone you don't know, you're never going to talk to them again. What the fuck was the point in doing it? For pleasure, obviously. But then I always say, well, there's lots of other things you can do to pleasure yourself. I'm not talking about masturbation. I'm talking about there's lots of other things you can do that will take up your time, that will ultimately make you a better person in the end. But a lot of people are very narcissistic, and instead of really focusing on themselves and, you know, making themselves better, they focus on immediate gratification. And sex is a commodity, so if it's not sex, it'd probably be something else, like doing lots of different drugs and shit like that. But, yeah, you know, growing up, I've had lots of different friends who've been able to have lots of sex, and sometimes they'll have stories to tell or conversations about the sex they've had. And I always just kind of have to sit there and listen, because I couldn't contribute to those conversations. Just kind of had to be there. And I always found it to be incredibly boring, uninspiring. I just personally never really cared so much about what other guys were doing with their penises. Never mattered all that much to me. I guess the side point is I never really understood why men make fun of other men for having small dicks either. And I don't fucking get it. I really don't. But again, like I said, I always figured that these men talked about the fact they had a bunch of sex, because I guess, I don't know, it's what made them feel masculine, and they were able to convince a woman to have sex with them. It made them feel good about themselves. And same thing for a lot of girls too, when they get a bunch of attention. And I think a lot of people need to be careful when it comes to sex, because it can be kind of like a drug, you know. A lot of people use it to escape problems that they're having sometimes. Now again, this isn't everybody, you know, but in all honesty, I highly fucking doubt you can have a truly intimate moment with someone you just fucking met. So, I mean, some people might say, well, you can have the most beautiful, wonderful sex with someone you just met. I guess theoretically, but I highly fucking doubt you have amazing moments with strangers you just fucking met at a bar. So, I call bullshit. But again, I always found it to be a gigantic waste of time to boast yourself up for being able to get some woman who was fucking drunk anyway to come home and have sex with you. I mean, the interesting thing about pickup artists that you'll notice is a lot of the time pickup artistry happens when the woman is at a bar and she's already drinking. So I'm like, well, she already wants to have sex anyway. She already went to the bar to go find someone to have sex with her, and she got drunk. And if you get drunk, it makes you want to have sex even more, and also impedes your decision-making skills. Really, pickup artists have all the fucking cards planned for them because they're in the correct setting to go have sex anyway. So in all actuality, getting a drunk girl to have sex with you while you're also drunk, it really isn't much of an accomplishment because of all those factors. I mean, if you can get a woman at a fucking internet cafe to drop what she's doing to have sex with you, that's fucking awesome. That is some shit. Like, I will get, that is fucking props. But I mean, I don't know, maybe I think too complexly about the world. Now, I guess to switch gears though, funny thing about virgins, when it comes to women, is that I have found them to be incredibly rare. Yeah, that's right, I don't really meet very many virginal women anymore. At least not back in high school, especially not here in college. And whenever I hear that girls are virgins, it always shocks me. For example, I remember when I first started talking to my ex-girlfriend. like long before when we were talking to each other and getting to know each other. Well, I shit tested her, kind of. And not really so much a shit tester, but I kind of got the baggage out the way. I didn't hide shit from the girl because at first I was like this. I was like, I'm going to make a purposeful attempt to get you to leave me alone. And if you don't leave me alone, well, then it looks like you are fucking awesome. So I told her shit that a lot of girls will probably like perk their ears up bad and be like, oh wow, this guy's weird. But so I was like this. I was like, hey, I like dragons. She's like, I like dragons too. And I was like, oh wow, that's pretty cool. And then I was like, next thing I said was, hey, I'm a virgin. And I thought, whenever I told other girls that before, they always were taken aback by that shit. Some girls never really believed me either, which I always thought to be kind of funny. But I told her that. My ex-girlfriend replies, join the club. And I was like, well, shit. Yeah. I'll tell you why. Because I had a couple of other female friends tell me that finding a woman that is a virgin is an incredibly difficult thing. In the course of my lifetime, it kind of is. There have been some girls overseas who are able to retain their virginity, but a lot of Western women, not so much. That's why chastity is even considered a virtue for women. And again, that is a whole topic that I talk about in How the Sexual Revolution Failed Women Part 2. But virgin shaming really isn't something that affects a lot of young ladies. It's really something that more primarily affects men, because a lot of people, especially men, would probably prefer to date someone who isn't as sexually experienced as them. And it's not really so much the sexual experience as the quota of men that they've had. See, because, I mean, it's not really the fact that women have lots of sex with one person that's pretty much okay. It's that they've had lots of sex with different people they didn't know, which really shows that they don't have much of a problem with switching between dicks. And lots of men, believe it or not, don't really like to date women they don't feel are trustworthy. That's why you'd see a lot more men who do not put up with cheating bitches. And you will see a lot more women who will stay in cheating relationships. Because men, they don't fucking like that shit. Not one bit. I mean, are there some guys that do? Yeah, but I mean, if you compare how harshly men come down on women cheating and how harshly women come down on men, you're gonna see a lot more men are just gonna fucking leave the relationship. Like some girls, they'll go crazy and they'll lose their shit, but men are just like, fuck that, I'm out. It's a really funny thing there. But again, so virginity in women is oftentimes thought as a virtue, something to be obtained, something great. But I have noticed every now and again some women will be insulted by some other catty little slut for being a virgin. I mean, it's rare. It does happen. Or maybe it's not rare. Maybe women go through virgin shaming as much as guys do, and I just don't know because I'm not a woman. But from what I've seen, I've only seen a couple of times where a girl would make another girl feel bad for not having sex. I mean, I've seen girls make girls feel bad because their boobs aren't that big, but having sex, not so much. I mean, it didn't happen, just not as much as other things. So I guess in conclusion, virgin shaming, I think, is a really funny phenomenon. I guess it really shows us just how special being an alpha male really is. But even then, I don't think if you are a virgin and you're watching this video, you should not feel bad about not having sex. There are much more important things in life. And if you're a virgin and you're trying constantly to have sex and just can't find someone who wants to fuck you, I say go over and check out Roosh V's channel. He might be able to help you out there. Or check out Julia Blanc or some other pickup artist if you're really that desperate. Or you can just become comfortable within yourself and just do a lot of other shit that fulfill you instead of trying to fuck some woman. But then, I mean, again, it's your life. You can do whatever you want. So, it's probably going to be the first time I mention virgin shaming, but it probably won't be the last. Probably talk about that or do some video response that revolves around virgin shaming in the future. So with that being said, I certainly hope you guys got something out of this video, some thinking points. And if you did, man, go ahead and click the like button. Go ahead and click that subscribe button. Comment in the comment box below. And as always, have a great day. I will see you cool cats soon. Adios.